wives of the men. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man
exactly 40 minutes
to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold.
Right, because first befell Cain, so he was to be a fugitive and a vagabond. So if anybody was to take vengeance on him, it would be enacted sevenfold against him. And that's the same thing that applies to Esau. You know, Esau being a so-called white man, and him being untouchable, even though he's committed so much heinous crimes on the earth. So Cain had this the protection of the hedge of nobody can exact vengeance.
Yeah. This is Psalms chapter 73, verse 5. It says, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men.
That's right. So let's go back to the hedge that he had. Esau also had that hedge to where they're not in plagues or trouble as other men. Like you see Jake in the ghetto, in the hood, getting shot down or getting stopped by the cops. Their heart is beating fast. Esau has that protection of Cain, so he doesn't have to deal with that.
Real quick. This is Ecclesiastes 8:11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
That's right. So execution against an evil work is not executed speedily, because we have some people in the world that say, oh, if I do this, let God strike me down right now. But the Most High doesn't work that way to where he executes judgment speedily. The Lord almost acts as a federal case, to where he lets you build crimes, he surveillance you, he builds your record, and then once he takes you to trial, there's a 99 to 100% conviction rate. So the Most High is not going to judge you immediately. He's going to do it over the process of time, and then bring down the judgment or one shot, to where you can't escape.
You see what they did to Alex Jones, right? Y'all been watching it. Yo, brother, Alex Jones was a fast talker. But that damn one Edomite brother, chubby one with the red band, man, he was, oh my goodness. Yeah. And he caught him up there. He got the phone record, which was illegal. They can get it on his bill, you know?
That's right. Verse 25. It says, no, sorry, verse 25. It says, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son.
Yeah, so he knew his wife again, meaning he laid with her, he had carnal relations, sexual relations with her, and they bare a son. Right?
They called his name Seth.
Okay. Any brother know what Seth was? What is they being compensated?
It says, for the Most High says she have appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew.
Right, so Cain had slew his brother, so the Lord has blessed him with Seth. And that's why his name was called compensation, because the Lord had paid her back with another son instead of Abel.
Seth, and to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord.
That's right. So they start calling upon the name of the Lord. Right?
This is Genesis, the 5th chapter, verse 1. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that the powers created man in the likeness, but the powers made him. Male and female created they them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. It says, and the powers said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
That's right. So man in his image can also apply to the law, statutes, commandments before it was written in stone. So where our likeness is supposed to be that of the ways of the Most High, which it tells all the laws that he given to Moses on Mount Sinai. And the reason why it was written in stone is because it symbolizes the hard-headedness of Israel as a nation to not follow the laws. You see? So it had to be written down instead of talked about. What's that scripture? Oral. What's the Lord? There's no way it's at.
Verse 27.
On that point. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8.
Start at 11. But... No, start at 8.
Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. For finding fault with them, saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, but I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Verse 9. Not according to the covenant that I made with the fathers the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. So we already know that's when he established the first covenant, which is circumcision, and giving and writing down the laws on stony rock. Because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. So the Most High cast us off as a people, because we didn't follow his laws and commandments. Verse 10. For this is the covenant that I make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. Right, so instead of having it on a rock or be written down where we have to physically study or memorize it, the Most High is going to put it in our minds to automatically do it. It's going to become second nature. And I will it's impossible. The scriptures say if you break one commandment, you're guilty of the more.
We got to change the seed. That's right. Like the Apostle Paul said.
But the flesh is weak. It's subject to sin. Whether it be mentally or certain, we got jobs where we can't keep the Sabbath. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 10. For this is my covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. And it's beautiful that the Most High dealt with Israel on that level, to where he made an agreement with us. Because we fell off and we fell short of his glory. But he's making a covenant and agreement to give us blessings, which is heavy. He didn't deal with any other nation. The nation didn't receive that. That's Amos chapter 3.
I got a precept for you, brother.
What?
This is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26. A new heart also I will give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart. And that's what we have now. Back in the days, my moms always say a hard head make a soft ass, because we didn't never follow the rules back then accordingly. But now he's going to put a new heart in us. And that's going to be that, like the elder apostles just said, the Lord just said, we can't hold all these commandments. But when we get this new heart, this new spirit, we're going to be superheroes.
And right before we hit the chariot, Apostle Paul said we shall be changed in the twinkling of an eye.
And what I will put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give your heart. I will give you a heart of flesh, and that's gonna be that ultimate download. Because we're gonna know everything, right? Like the apostle just said, right before we hit it, we're gonna have a new body, and that's what we waiting. That's what we're doing this for, to get up out of this filthy place.
Yeah, like flesh. and it's beautiful the contrast the Most High made to where a rock is much harder than flesh. Flesh is like easily absorbable. To take in information, a rock is impenetrable. Seeing that was our mentality of our people, even to this day. They got a hard head. In the world, when I used to get my ass whipped, it was said a hard head make for a soft ass. So Most High, essentially said Israel has a hard head, and he kept whipping our ass, but he's going to change our mind.
Book of Zechariah chapter 7, verse 11 to 12. They refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulders, stopped their ears that they should not hear. They made their hearts as adamant stone. So our heart was addicted to the law. Stone, like hard. They made their hearts as an adamant stone, that they should hear the law and the words which the Lord of hosts have sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from Yahweh Shemashah.
I got something. There's Romans 8:3. For what the law could not do, and that it was weak through the flesh, the Most High sent his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, because the law was perfect, but we was imperfected. So the Most High put a perfect law in a vessel that was unperfected. So therefore we couldn't keep the law perfectly.
Which made Yahushua a beautiful sacrifice, as he was the lamb without blemish, or meaning the man that never committed sin on earth. So he was the perfect vessel to use for a sacrificial lamb for the nation of Israel, to adopt us back to the Father, so we could be in his likeness like the book of Genesis is going into. You got something?
Now, Hosea chapter 10, verse 12. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, in mercy, bring up the fallow ground. It is time to seek the Lord, to come and raise righteous upon you.
When the rain off, they wait for the rain off, the ground to be soft. Take the axe, break it up so it's more easy to plant. That's what it is with some of these jakes. They're very hard-headed. You know, some brothers in the beginning, they might even say, "I don't believe this." You have to keep picking away at that ground.
You gotta get through the stones.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shalom. Brother, Shalom.
This is Genesis, back in
Don't worry
Genesis
about it, brother.
chapter
You
5,
watch this on
verse
YouTube?
2. Male
That's
and
why.
female
Shalom.
created they
Shalom.
them
Shalom.
and blessed them.
Shalom, not shalom.
God bless.
Same to you.
That's
Same to
you
you.
too, brother. Love you.
Be safe.
Yeah, because you said shalom, and I'm, kind of nervous, He's a little starstruck, You saw these guys, you guys.
I just said he passed by. Yeah, he over there.
Oh,
At first he was
okay,
saying
so
Shalom, then he
okay.
told them it's Shalom.
Okay, so you now you know the fight.
Yeah.
He's one of us.
You saw the power.
Now look at that. Look at
Back in the book of Genesis, chapter 5, verse 2. Male and female created they them and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created, which is the 6th day. It said they are
Fifth day.
It says male and female created they them and blessed them and called their name Adam, meaning that was included as an Adamite thing, And the Lord didn't just Adam to Eve on the earth. The abundance of Eve. It's like,
Adam just means brown.
right.
The Hebrew of Adam is not brown. So there's a certain chosen path. That's in the apocrypha.
So the proof also that there are other people on the face of the earth around the time of Adam and Eve. I'm going to read Luke chapter 1, verse 7. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. So there you go. There were prophets in the Garden of Eden, prophesying whatever they were prophesying at that time. Because the prophets have always been here on the earth. And they're the mouthpiece of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh.
It says, verse 3, and Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness and after his image and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam, after he had begotten Seth, were 800 years and he begat sons and daughters.
Yeah, so at that time they lived a very long life. But the wickedness, our lifespan got cut short. We got people that live up to 45. Me personally, my brother's father died At like 42, he died in his sleep. So we used to live at 800 years, 700 years. But now life is cut short because of wickedness, you see, which is the breaking of the laws, statutes, and commandments. It not only applies to Israel, you see.
That's what precept. This is Shabbat. Shabbat 18. Shabbat 18 and verse 9. It says the number of a man's days at the most are 100 years. You know, so that goes into basically how the world comes down us from living almost a full day to 100 years, 120 years. Even another scripture that says 150 days. You know, so here the Lord dropped us down from having a full day, 2,000 years, almost, you know, to 120 years. It says, as a drop of water onto the sea and a gravel stone, in comparison of the sand, so are 1,000 years to the days of eternity.
Quickly, sir. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, which is pertaining to the nation of Israel, who are the sons of God, right? Who are the sons of God, right? It says, but ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes, shall die like men, like the sons of men. Because the sons of men, they never lived to reach those great ages like Adam and like Methuselah, you know, to reach those long ages, almost 1,000 years. What happened? They always died like men died. Right? The reason why, because they're not the sons of the Most High. And being a
that word fall there?
No.
The word fall.
Fall.
Which goes back to the volume of
Giants.
Back in Genesis 6. That's all it means. You know, we're not talking about actual giants and hybrids of gods and men, demigods and all that. We're talking about actual men.
Great people.
Right, that fell from that great state. Like today, an example would be a famous person that everybody loves, O.J. Simpson, Bill Cosby. They fell from that great state. They became fallen. Now they look at it as what? Pieces of shit. That's the one day they would have daughtered to be something.
Like O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, O.J. Simpson, yeah.
The scripture said we decrease his stature. That longevity of life going all the way down to not even reaching 120 years.
I got another example of the falling away. The 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, the day of our Lord, except there comes a falling away first. We have to fall from our great estate again. So when we came into slavery, and then that we be refreshed. It's happening right now, the refreshment of the elect of Israel. It says, except there comes a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man of sin, the son of perdition.
That goes back to 70 AD.
So I got a precept, yeah, just to touch on a point like the brother just made, that, you know, through time, we've been going weaker through age by way of sin, you know, and Scripture says sin is the wages of death. So as soon as we're born, we breathe air, we live to die, because we're in a wicked body that commits sin every day. That's why we need Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai. But this is the proof in 2nd Ezra 14 and 16. It says, for yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. And evils comes by no other way but by sin. You know, sin, as time goes on until these times, is more. It makes Sodom and Gomorrah look like a holy temple over there, man. That's how evil it is right now. We're in grave evil times, you know. And so, get back to what the brother said. It's all because this is the most sinful generation that's ever across the face of the earth.
Crying to Yahweh Shem Yahshua to deliver us out of this fucking cesspool.
I got something. This Psalms 90 and 9. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. The days of our years are 60 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away.
So he said, peradventure, you make it to 80, you'll go through a whole bunch of labor. Who wants to be 80 years old in society? You can't wipe your own ass. You gotta be attended for home health care, diapers. You gonna start forgetting shit. Alzheimer's. You see, you dementia. You start losing strength. So you get all wrinkly.
Yeah, right back to a baby.
Yeah. Sometimes you turn into a baby. And that's because of sin and wickedness, you know.
Verse 7, and Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years.
Yeah, that's unfathomable. That's why people don't believe in the scriptures, because when you're 90 years in this society, you're not having no children. But that was like prime age at the time, you know, to get children and have a lot of babies.
Bro, Anthony Quinn, you probably don't remember Anthony Quinn. He was an actor. He had a baby. I'm not talking about these. I know. I'm talking about them. But Anthony Quinn, he had a baby at the age of 79, something right, with a younger woman too. I wrote that, huh? Yeah, Ronald Isaac. Yeah, I'm talking about Anthony Quinn was well in his 70s, going on 80 when he had that baby. So that proves that Hey, well,
Noah was 500 years old.
I'm just thinking it. So 500 years old.
Not gonna prove that 500. You know, his love tack is still working.
This is Psalms chapter 90, verse 10.
Yeah,
The day-
That's the voice of God. You gotta have fun with this.
The days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away.
I think about David Rockefeller. They said this guy had 7 heart transplants to make it to about 102 years old.
He didn't want to go.
He didn't want to go.
Yeah.
He knows when he comes back, that's his ass.
He's gonna be a chain.
That's right.
And you know that Planet of the Apes is gonna
Play out.
be in that reality.
Real life.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a reality show.
That's right. The forbidden zone.
The humanoids. Got another precept. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 23. For the Most High created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity.
Right, we're speaking of children of Israel. He made children of Israel to be immortal. I forget, I think it was the movie Immortal. But it was like gods and they lived forever. Immortal. They were decked out in gold. They had supernatural human abilities.
Man died. You ever had that movie, what was it movie, Highlander?
Yes.
He lived forever. You know? You had to chop the head off. Exactly. So, it can only be one.
That's why when you see certain jakes, they might look young, even though they be up in age, you know?
So the bodies we're about to get, we won't die, man. Well, death will, hey, that's that scripture. Death will, oh, death, where did I sting? Swallow that.
Victory. Oh, man. I know you brothers are ready for that.
Yeah, where's that sting?
I'm tired of going to funerals.
This is back in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 23.
And Solomon was the wisest king at the time.
For the Most High created man to be immortal.
So he created Israel to be immortal, to live forever.
Right? And made him to be in the image of his own eternity.
And even at that time, we still lived hundreds of years, but died. But it wasn't intended for us to die at all. We're supposed to live forever.
Like when we read Genesis, when it says, they eat of the tree, that shall surely die. Adam didn't literally die that exact day he ate the tree. He died a day to the Lord. In that 1,000-year period. He didn't live to be 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? So he died like a day before the Lord. He only died in his 800s. You know?
So he didn't die immediately.
Quick precept. So the book of Isaiah, chapter 65, verse 20. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that has not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner, which we all know the wages of sin is death, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. So Israel's going to live forever. It's not going to be an infant of days. It's not going to be no more young men dying at an early age.
They ain't going to be dying, period.
Yeah,
since we won't be sinning, you can't die.
Right. And I'm not sure if it's that same chapter it speaks about as the days of a tree, so shall thy days be.
Yeah.
Job.
It's that same chapter.
Long time.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 22.
Yeah, you know, you got the California redwoods.
Right.
Those trees are what, more than 3,000 years old? Something like that? Yeah, man.
Wow.
Now, verse 22, I'll just go, verse 20, I'll read 21. Verse 21, and they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them, which is the reversal of the curses. It says, they shall not build and another inhabit, they shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
man. That's beautiful.
And that doesn't mean that we're going to be physically doing work.
Zechariah 8:1. Again, the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age. And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of his people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Lord of hosts? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country.
That's it. And so he said, it will be marvelous in my eyes also, meaning the Heavenly Father himself is going to take great joy in finding his people. As happy as we will be, he will be even more happy.
Last verse. And I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their power, in truth and in righteousness. This is Sirach 37 and verse 25. It says, the days of the life of man may be numbered, but the days of Israel are numerous.
There you go, man. It's an honor to have that privilege, you know, to say that the Most High is going to bless us and do it.
Revelation chapter 21 verse 2. And I, God, saw the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared of the bride of those of her husband.
Yeah, because they're going to be going up, and that's when the twinkling of an eye change is going to happen. The mortal bodies taken off like clothing, and the new immortal bodies put on. The old mind gone, the fleshly mind in, and then the final step is the insertion of the law, statutes, perfection. That's what the Apostle John Paul coming down from heaven. You know? perfection, the perfect specimen of man, the Israelites.
Wait a minute, can Esau give us that?
Oh, hell no.
Fuck this.
They got to cut into your flesh and put all kind of, you know?
Like we've been saying for years, they know the truth.
Yes.
That's why they demonize us. They know the truth.
Right.
They know they're going into slavery. You know?
Right.
Hold up,
Preachers in the choir, they know they're going into slavery. They know that. Vocab, I'm starting to believe that Vocab really, on a personal level, wants to get up in here.
Yeah.
Because he put a comment in one of my videos. Most of my videos, we can get into him.
Also, the Gentile quote, I think I
He
saw
said,
it.
I'm just a Gentile trying to get in. And but he said it sincerely.
Right.
So I believe that he thinks he's not going to make it. When he first came on the scene, he said he was a saint, but he didn't say what the father's a saint and mother's a saint. Then we figured it out that the mother was a saint. So who was the father? Found out his name was Reiser, which is a so-called, which is German. And could he be a so-called Jew or actual German? Because you had a lot of Germans that are actually Israelites. So my thing is this: if you are an Israelite, then you're gonna make it. If you're not gonna make it. He's trying the best way he can to sneak up in here.
Right.
So the only thing you can hope for these is, just like us all, we hope that we're Israelites because we know that we're Israelites. We know in the spirit.
Yeah, we've been given this great truth.
So this is serious, man. They know everything that we're saying is the truth.
None of the wicked shall understand.
That's right. That's right. Paul Kersey's on the line.
What does he say?
Try to read the comment that he said. Oh shit. He said, Elder Tahar, we can't give this truth to any and everybody.
Well, I'm
not.
just telling you the truth. I said the only thing he got going is if he's an Israelite. If he's not an Israelite, he's going into slavery. If he's an Edomite, he's going into slavery.
Right.
That's it. Nothing about it.
And first of all, we don't give this truth to anybody. It's the Lord that
Exactly.
gives it.
What the Apostle Paul said, the Lord planneth, the
Paul
Most High
planted,
giveth the increase.
Follow orders,
Yeah.
the Most High gave the increase. You know?
We can't even give it to ourselves.
Right.
We start with ourselves first.
Right. Yeah.
John chapter 6, verse 44. No man can come to me except the
4 minutes.
Father which hath sent me, draw him, and I will raise him up the last day. This is Genesis chapter 5 and verse 11. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Mahalalel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalalel 840 years and begat sons and daughters.
Well, I just wanted to say this. You can imagine the mentality seeing that our people started to die at this time because it was meant for them to be immortal.
Right.
You know, just as when Noah had the rain came, it was surprising to start seeing that the sons of God were dying.
He said there's a scripture where it says he dared one's death was weighed down upon their mind.
Yeah. Yep.
Ever since the Most High put the sanction of death, that's one of the things that plays.
It also plays peace.
That's why I said that the last enemy to be destroyed when Yahweh Shai comes back is death.
Sweet. Sweet. That's where it's that sting.
Yeah. Yep.
How wish I conquered death?
So when death first entered the world, you know, that was marvelous, you know. We not only got our life cut shorter, but we started to die. So, and it was supposed to be perfect because Eden means paradise. That was the beginning of the decline of the earth. Hence the name Book of Genesis.
And we're getting the spiritual herbs to reach everlasting life, which is the tree of life.
It starts with this truth.
Yeah.
Everlasting life starts with this truth.
And because the angel, remember, he had the sword holding back, you know, anyone because
Getting this truth.
How Shai said it, and the angel said, what are we going to do? Seeing that man, you know, now he knows good and evil like people. He put forth his hand and eat of the tree of life and live forever.
Yep.
So they banned him.
Oh, I got a quick piece. Just back to what you said, Apostle. Lord Yahweh Shai overcame, conquered death. Yep. St. John chapter 16, verse 33, it reads, these things I've spoken unto you. Now, I'll start from 32. Points in 33. It says, 31. Yahweh shall answer them, do ye now believe? 32. Behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone, and yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. Point, verse 33. These things I've spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world.
Back in the book of Genesis, chapter 15. Verse 15. It says that Mahela lived 65 years and begat Jared. And Mahela lived after he begat Jared 830 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahela were 895 years and he died. And Jared lived 162 years and begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years and begat sons and daughters. This is talking about the Enoch righteousness. Enoch go through the seed of something. It says, and all the days of Jared were 962 years and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with the Most High after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with the Most High, and he was not, the Most High took him.
Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because the Most High has translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that pleased the Most High.
So that's kind of like a prelude to the salvation of the elect in this time.
That they won't see death in this time. To suffer sin with the wicked.
This is 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 9. And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon thee. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing, nevertheless, and thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee, but if not, it shall not be so.
So he asked him a double portion of his powers, his spirit, which is his spiritual powers.
Let me ask y'all a question. Who is Elijah today? No, I'm sorry. Who is Elisha today? Who is Elisha today? By show of hands. Who is Elisha today? Or who do you think Elisha is? I can't prove that, but I told him that. You was there. When they had the dedication in Connecticut, I spoke to there was Mo over here, Ari over there. I told him I believe you're Elisha. He kind of had that, because he didn't know. Then Marshall said, don't tell him that, because his head's going to get bigger than what it already is. It fits his spirit. But guess what? The main leader of Alma, which is Elijah, was Ariel. He's the main, who wasn't just the gold tape, he's the main guy. He was like in his 20s.
Elisha asked for a portion of the Spirit. Elisha asked for the portion of the Spirit.
Because Ariel, when that spirit jumped on him, give you a little story. When they first came out of Mo and him, and Moses always was speaking, and Moses not going to speak. And Ariel was kind of timid to speak. He kept saying, look, I can't keep speaking. No, you got to start speaking. And all of a sudden the spirit jumped on him, and he was that fire came out of his mouth. You know? So that's beautiful. So we're going to close it on this. If you got anything, any closing words, one last precept, you got another 2 minutes, right? Then we're going to close.
Verse 11, it says, and it came to pass, as they went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder.
Now this devil was out here before. Remember,
Every week.
that's Jacob Rothschild.
Yeah.
Child husband.
He's out here every week.
We want a portion of our spirit.
You looking for the UFO?
And he always comes when we close. He's every close. Yeah, right. He only come around when that's his close. Yeah,
you gotta imagine the scriptures as a movie producer. And how you would write it as if it was a movie. That's how
saying that earlier at the camp.
That's the spirit. That's how I visualize, well, that's how you visualize what actually took place during this time. So read that part.
It says, and it
Hey,
came
brother,
to
you're a
pass.
good teacher. I've never really saw you teach. You're a good teacher, man. You know? And the best type of teacher is not the dramatic guy, it's the guy that explains stuff.
Yeah.
Like I try to be like, you try to you read the script and you explain. You don't got to get all stick, the horse and all that shit. Just read the script and explain it, man. That's it.
Like the dude from Monty Python, Fire and Brimstone.
Oh, yeah. You don't got to be here. You don't got to be here. You don't got to be here.
That dude was dramatic.
Verse 11. And it came to pass, as they went on, and they still went on, they talked that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire.
So a UFO came right above them. But they describe it as fire because it was illuminating light. It was very bright. As you know, UFOs are very bright. So that's what we see.
And parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven.
So a beam of light took them up. So it separated and parted them asunder. So a beam of light took them up. Go ahead.
And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in 2 pieces.
Ripped them up because it was sad that he went up.
The same thing happened with Yahweh Shai when we read Acts the 1st chapter. When the 2 angels said, these, same way the Lord went up, so come back down. Sent back to the earth.
Every week we see
So with that,
I know we are.